Hello and welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles that appeared in our today's newspaper. So let's get started, guys. First of all, I'll let you know important topics of the day. And later on, we are going to see each and every topic from prelims and as well as mains point of view. And I'll let you know how question can be asked in UPSC. And at last, I'll be giving you prelims practice questions as well. Okay, now let us see the first topic. The topic is about attacks on ships, unacceptable, says India. So whatever the Indian related ships which are going in this Gulf of Oman, they are being attacked by US. So because of this, our government of India showed lots of concerns regarding that kind of attacks. So here we have to see why US targeted Indian ships and why US is attacking our Indian ships, and you have to see what will be the impact in future. And this topic is important from GS paper to under international relations. And next topic is food prices take retail inflation to 3.9% in May. So this article is talking about increased food price. So there is one important chapter in your economy called as inflation. From that point of view, you have to see this article. You have to see what is the basics of inflation, why there is now the rise of retail price, and exactly why there is increase in food prices and which food prices increase in the market. You have to see that. And you may get a prelims based question from this CPI. And this topic is important from economy from GS paper 3. And next topic is about Project Kusha. Project Kusha, our indigenous air defense shield, will be a game changer, says our defense minister. Our defense minister gave a statement about one important project called as Project Kusha. On this Project Kusha, you may get a question. This time itself, we expected a question on this Project Kusha, but it is not there. Now that means in next year, you may get a question on this Project Kusha for sure in prelims case. And this topic is important from Science and Technology from GS paper 3. And next topic is BRICS backed people-centric inclusive urban development. So recently, one meeting related to BRICS held, and this meeting mainly focused on urban development. If there is any grouping and if there is any meet in that year, for sure UPSC may ask you a question on that. So here you have to see what is that meet of BRICS which is focused on urban development. And this topic is important from GS paper 2 under international relations. And next topic is deep-seated bias for male child persist in society, says Supreme Court. Supreme Court itself gave a statement that in our society there is one important concern. What is that concern? There is a deep bias for a male child, and this concept is called as son meta preference. That means nothing but parents here, they want a male child rather than a girl child. So that concept is called as son meta preference. And now Supreme Court gave this statement that yes, this problem is still there in our society. So here you have to see what is that concept of son meta preference and what is the impact of the son meta preference on the society and why there is a priority for a male child over female child. You have to see that. And next topic is equality of treatment for persons with disabilities. So here you have to see about this persons with disability and what are the problems they mainly faced in different arenas, and you have to see how can we ensure equality for them in our society. And in 2026 prelims also there is one question related to Persons with Disabilities Act. If you are getting any prelims based question related to any act, there is a very high probability or chances to get mains based question 2026 related to this persons with disability. So in that way, if you are going thoroughly with prelims paper, we can understand in which areas UPSC can give questions in mains also. Okay, not only this year but even for next year also, persons with disability is very important. Okay, so here you have to see that from governance and as well as society point of view, guys. Okay, now let us see the first article. Look at the title, read out the title, guys. Attacks on ships, unacceptable, says India. Okay, now here you have to know about West Asian map. India, Pakistan, Iran, In this way, we have Western Asian countries or Gulf countries. Okay, here which strait we have? Here we have Strait of Hormuz. Okay, now what is the problem here? US attacked Iran. US and Israel attacked Iran. And in retaliation, Iran is attacking US military bases in West Asia and the war is going on. You know that. So because of that, what happened? So this West Asian countries are famous for what? West Asian countries' economy is famous and they depend on oil, crude oil. And India is also getting crude oil and as well as gas from this West Asian countries. But now what is happening? War. So because of this, what this West Asian countries did is, they decreased production of oil. So whenever they decrease production, then what about the supply of oil increase or decrease? Yes, there is decreased supply of oil. But what about demand? Is any decrease in the demand because of decrease in supply? No. So because of this, what happened? There is supply-demand mismatch. There is supply-demand mismatch, or there is no proper equilibrium between supply and demand. Then what happened if it is not matching? Obviously, prices of that crude oil will be increased. That is a major problem. And not only that, what happened is the Strait of Hormuz is very important for transport of crude oil and as well as gas which is produced by this West Asian countries. Who is sharing boundary with the Strait of Hormuz? Only two countries, that is Iran and Oman, are sharing boundary with the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran closed this Strait of Hormuz. So because of this, the movement of ships become very difficult in this Strait of Hormuz. Okay. So now, as you all know that India's energy security is dependent on the countries from which we are importing our oil, right? So India is not having proper oil reserves. And if you want to maintain good energy security, we have to import oil from other countries. So from which countries we are importing crude oil? You know, from Russia we are importing, from US we are importing, from Venezuela we are importing, and even this West Asian countries. Okay, what we are doing here is, here we have Oman. So from this Oman, we are getting oil. So like this and this, in this way we have Oman. And from this Oman, we are trying to getting our oil. And not only that, some amount of oil we are getting from Iran also. So what is happening here is, so near this Gulf of Oman, the ships which are carrying this Iranian oil and Oman oil are moving. And those are Indian ships. So what happened? US used missiles and as well as US used drones and they attacked 3 Indian ships which are carrying oil to India. So in that attacks, around 3 Indian sailors were died. So because of this, now if you see this image, the family members are shown in this image that yes, because of this US attacks, around 3 Indian sailors or seafarers died. Okay. So here in retaliation, India also said clearly that US has to stop this kind of attacks. Okay. So this is the meaning of this. Attacks on ships unacceptable, says India. Why? India is saying that if you are attacking our ship, what will be the impact? What happens if US is attacking our ships? First one is loss of life of people can happen. Yes. And next one is that ships are carrying what? Crude oil. So this crude oil can spill on water. What happens if oil spills in the water? It will float or it will mix with water? It will float. Why it will float? Because of density difference. Which is having more density, which is having less density. Water is having more density, it will sink. Oil is having less density, it will float. And this is PYQ in 1990s. If you see general science related PYQ, it is one PYQ. So what happens if oil spill happens? Is that good for environment? Again, environmental emergency can happen. And not only that, obviously, it will be affecting our trade. No. We will lose lots of amount of money, and even we cannot maintain proper petroleum and diesel reserves in our country also. So because of this, now India is condemning this kind of attacks. So now you guys tell me, what will be the impact on relations with US? Can we maintain good relations? Relations between India and US can be strained. So from that point of view, you have to see this article. First, you have to see, even sometimes UPSC can ask you names of ships, because the paper is becoming uncertain every year. So you have to make a note of that ships also. And next you have to know about map of Gulf of Oman, where it is, Gulf countries and Strait of Hormuz. You have to open your atlas and you have to see clearly this West Asian region. And next one is, you have to see why, what is the reason US attacked our ships. And next one is, what will be the impact. So in all these areas you have to focus. And if UPSC wants to give a mains based question, it can give in this way. In the light of recent attacks of US on Indian ships, what are the reasons? Discuss the reasons behind it, and what is the impact on India-US relations. And next they may ask you to suggest some measures. In that way, UPSC can give you a mains question. And in prelims based questions, UPSC can give about some facts related to Gulf of Oman and Strait of Hormuz. Even in 2026 also there was a question related to Strait of Hormuz. Okay, like that you have to see. Okay, now let us see the context. 3 US Navy strikes occurred on commercial vessels, and in these vessels we have Indian crew, and where this attack happened, across this Gulf coast. That is nothing but Gulf of Oman region. This attacks happened, and they attacked 3 ships. First one is MT Marivics. In this attack, all our Indian crew are safe. And second one is MT Stabilo. In this, 3 Indian sailors died and remaining were rescued. And third one is Javer. Okay, in this also all crew members are safe. So here on these 3 commercial vessels of India, US attacked. And they used drones and they used missiles. You know these drones, right? Drones are unmanned aerial vehicles. And you know about missiles. They are like rockets and they will carry warheads and they will attack this or strike the targets. Okay, what are the reasons why US attacked Indian vessels? The first one here is, US initiated blockade on Iranian shipping. Okay, US imposed blockade on Iranian shipping, but India is going for this kind of trade with Iran related to oil. So that is the one important reason they said. And next one is, ships violated US sanctions. Of all these 3 ships, 2 ships were sanctioned by US Treasury because they are carrying Iranian oil. Because of this violation, they attacked these ships. That is the second reason said by US. And next one is, whoever the crew members who are operating these ships, they disobeyed US orders. That is the third reason said by this US. And this one is, there is also economic pressure on Iran. So here, this is a strategy of US to attack Iran related trade, and US wants to hit Iran economically. So that is the next reason. And next one is, there is shadow fleet operation. That is nothing but whatever the older ships which are moving in this region, they do not have proper insurance, Western insurance, which is transporting crude oil. So if they are not having insurance, obviously they will be got boycotted, they will not allowed to move. So these are the major reasons which cited by US behind the attacks. Okay, now we have to see impacts. As you know, what are the impacts? The first one is, 3 Indian sailors died. That means loss of life. Okay, that is the first impact. And next one is, we have threat of energy security, because these vessels are carrying crude oil. That is very important for our energy security. If this because of this kind of attacks, if the oil spill happens, obviously it will be having impact on our energy security. And not only that, it may cause environmental emergency because of oil spill. That is also a possible impact. And this one here is whatever the oil which is carried in these three ships, it is around 1.7 trillion. So here 1.7 trillion trade can be affected. And next one here is obviously there will be increased tensions between India and US. There will be increased diplomatic tensions and the relation cannot be maintained properly between India and US. That is also one impact. And next one here is maritime security. So whenever we are going for this trade or a way of transportation through these waterways, so if this kind of attacks are happening, can we ensure security in that region? No. So this is also one major impact, maritime security issues. Okay, so in this way you have to think. And now tell me guys, what can be done? What is the way forward? Shall we sit silent? Do India need to sit silent? Then what can we do? If you are writing UPSC, in that there is one service called as IFS, Indian Foreign Service. So if you get that service, your work is to mediate between India and other country. For example, imagine you are posted in US embassy and this kind of issues are happening between India and US. What can you do? How can you decrease tensions between India and US? You have to play a role, right? Government will not give you salary without doing anything, no? So tell me, what can you do so that we can maintain good relations with India and US? Can we bomb on this US related ships? Is that good? Then what will you do? Tit for tat. What can you do? How can you stop it? Hmm? Uh, it is not for this kind of things. Okay, so we can use international organizations and we can raise concerns there. We have United Nations. Next one here is we can sit and talk. That is called as diplomacy. Okay, we have to ensure proper diplomacy and we have to ensure proper talks between India and US so that we can sort out the problem. And if we cannot go with this diplomacy, even after number of talks also, if this continues means, then we can raise this issue in international organizations. Okay. See this article guys, read out the title. Food prices take retail inflation to 3.9% in May. What is this article talking about? It is about food prices. First keyword is food prices. Second one is retail inflation. So first of all, in your economy, this chapter is very important. Every year you will get either question prelims or mains related to inflation. In 2023, there were 2 questions related to inflation prelims. In 2026, there is no question, unfortunately, but this is very important topic. And the students who are going to write 2027 prelims, for sure you'll get question on the CPI. Okay, I'll tell you. First of all, tell me what is the meaning of inflation? Okay, inflation is nothing but there is a condition in our market. There will be increased prices of goods and services in the market. If you go to market, whenever there is increased price of goods and services, then it's called as inflation. Okay, I'll give you a small example. Okay, if you take grapes, do you know grapes? Fruits, right? So if you take grapes, last year it was like 60 rupees only. But this year it is 120 to 140 rupees. Have you seen this? So because of that, the grape market is like very down this year. If the price increases, will we buy? Even I didn't buy grapes even a single time in this season. Every year I will be having like at least once in 3 days. I used to buy at least 1 kg of grapes. But this time because of price, I didn't purchase even a single time in this season. So actually what happens here is, if we compare with so and so year, whenever there is rise of price in the market, that is called as inflation. And I'll give you one basic example. What is the normal price of egg? One egg, 6 rupees. But what is the price now? 8 or 9 rupees. So here compared to last year, is there any increasing of price? This condition is called as inflation. Are you understanding? Whenever there is increased price, then what happened? This condition is called as inflation. Okay. Here you have to see different types of inflation. If you see different types, we have cost push inflation. Next one is demand pull inflation. Next one is built-in inflation. Cost push is nothing but whatever, if there is any increased price of raw material. For example, if you want to make a bread or if you want to make a cake, what we need? We need wheat, right? And we need some intermediary products to make that. If the raw material cost increases, then what happens? Obviously, the final good price will increase. That is called as cost push. Cost push is nothing but whenever there is increased raw material cost. For example, you know about steel that we use in our homes. So how we can make this steel? It is a mixture. It is an alloy, right? So whatever the raw materials that we use for making of the steel, if that increases, obviously the final price of the steel will increases. That type of inflation is called as cost push inflation. And what about demand pull inflation? Whenever there is increased demand in the market. For example, I have a bakery and I have 10 cakes with me. Normally, I will be selling one cake at 100 rupees. But what happens? Suddenly, there is some New Year celebrations or Christmas celebrations. In front of my bakery, there are 100 people who are standing in a queue for that 10 cakes. Then what will I do? I will ask them who will pay more. For them only, I will give my cake. My cake price will increase from 100 rupees to 200. Are you understanding? So whenever there is increased demand for the goods, supply is less, obviously the price will increase. The same thing which is happening now related to petrol and diesel. Right? So there is supply decreased and there is increased demand. Obviously the international price had been increased. And next one is built-in inflation. Built-in inflation is nothing but whenever the changing of lifestyle of people is happening. Whenever their income level is increasing, then what happens? They will change their priority related to their consumption of goods. For example, let me give you one example. For example, if my salary is 10,000 rupees per month, I will be purchasing the goods and I will satisfy my needs with this amount, right? 10,000 rupees. For example, if I shifted and if my salary is increased to 60,000 per month, can I use same goods which I used earlier? Now status increased, now my income increased. So I will be shifting to other goods. For example, if my salary is 10,000 rupees, I used to go to one tea shop which is there outside on the roadside and I will be having a tea of 10 rupees. If my salary is 60,000 or 1 lakh rupees, will I go to that same chai mandi? No, I won't. I will go to Nilofer. Yes. So because of this, what happened? There will be increased prices. So that is called as built-in inflation. So like that, we have three types of inflation. Okay, and whenever we are studying about this inflation, we have to see about at which level we are calculating this inflation. So here we have two levels. First one is wholesale level. Next one is retail level. You know about this wholesaler and retailer, right? You know this wholesaler and retailer? Anyone? Okay, let me explain you. So there is one factory and this factory is producing goods. One person goes to this factory directly and he will purchase the goods in bulk, like 1,000 units, like 1,500 units or 2,000 units, like that he will be purchasing bulk. So he will he is called as wholesaler. Okay, and he will be purchasing the goods at bulk at a company. And after that, what he'll do? At wholesale price, he will be distributing his goods to shops. And from that shops, normal consumers or customers will go to retailer shop and they will buy 1 or 2 units, whatever their need. Okay, so if you are calculating this change of prices at this person level who is purchasing goods at bulk, then that is called as wholesale price index. Okay, and if you are calculating the change of price of goods and services at this customer level, at this customer level is called as retail price. It is measured in consumer price index. So normally when you study about these indices which are used to measure this inflation, we will come across two things. First one is wholesale price index, second one is consumer price index. Wholesale price index measures this change of price of goods and services at wholesaler level. It is at retailer level or consumer level. So now here, if you see this article, it is talking about retail inflation. Retail inflation means it is talking about what? CPI. Clear? So now here this article is saying that food prices takes retail inflation to 3.9%. What does it mean? So there is increased food prices in the market. Because of that, retail inflation increased. That is the meaning of this article. Clear? And food price means you have to understand why this food prices increased and which food prices increased. You have to know that. Okay, now you guys tell me where this food is produced. Normally, food grains where we'll produce like fruits, vegetables or whatever it may be. Normally in rural areas, we'll produce this food. And from there, it has to come to urban areas. So what is the means of transportation normally? We can use roadways, we can use railways, sometimes waterways also. If there is any inland transport system, if there is any river or anything, we can transport that goods using this waterways. So whatever the transport system you can see, will it run without this diesel or petrol? Now what is happening at the international level? Increased price of goods and increased price of what? Crude oil. Because of this, there is increased diesel and petrol price. If diesel and petrol price increase, what about transportation cost? Increases. If transportation cost increases, obviously food price increases. That is the one important reason. Our understanding, because of increased crude oil prices, that led to increased transportation cost. Indirectly, that led to increased food prices in our country. And second one, this time we are having El Nino or La Nina, El Nino, and in this El Nino, some areas will get rainfall normally and some areas will be getting deficient rainfall. Okay, what about our agriculture? It is dependent on in this rainfall, or like, do we have any good irrigation system throughout our country? Mostly rain-fed agriculture. That means what about this agriculture produce? Will it increase or decrease? Decrease. So because of that also, especially during the summer season, because of heat waves, it affected rainfall. That led to shortage or decreased agriculture production. That is the one more reason we can take into consideration. And whenever we are talking about this food prices, majorly it is affected by pot. Remember this, pot. Pot means nothing but potato, onion and vegetables, tomato. Normally our vegetable thali price is depend on this potato price, onion price and tomato price, and they are very volatile. Sometimes you can see the same tomato will be like 5 rupees kg. Sometimes it will be 120, 80, 90 rupees kg. Even in the case of onion also, especially during this Navratri time, that is in the month of November and December, October and November, that time you can see lots of reels, like the family who is having onions will be like richest. Especially they will wearing this ornaments which is made by onions. Like that we can see lots of reels, no? So here the potato, onion and tomato prices are like very volatile. So if this price increases, obviously our food price will be increased. These are the three things that you have to remember from this article. And now let us see exactly what they gave here. First one is there is increased cereal prices. Cereals and pulses prices increased in the market. That is the first reason. And they said that there is increased rice price of 0.23% of rice price increased, and tomato price increased by 48.4%. Okay, so these are the major reasons which increased prices of food in our market that led to increased retail inflation. Clear? Okay, now let us see what exactly this retail inflation. Retail inflation is also known as CPI, right? And what it does, it will track the rise of prices of goods and services in our market, which is related to daily consumption, because we are talking about retailers or consumers here. Okay, next important point you have to see is, if we are calculating the CPI every month, what is the use? Where can we use this data? You need to know that. Why we are calculating it and what is the purpose of calculating this. If you see the purpose of calculating the CPI, we can understand the cost of living. Yes or no? If you take the price of tomato in villages, if you take price of tomato in urban areas, in rural areas the prices will be low compared to that of urban areas, especially the products which are produced in that area. Yes or no? Farmers will be selling at a very low price compared to that of the supermarkets. Will you accept it or not? So if you calculate the CPI, we can understand exactly what is the cost of living. Cost of living in Hyderabad, cost of living in Delhi, where it is more. Obviously in Delhi the cost of living is more, and even if you go to Bangalore also cost of living is high. So like that we can identify the cost of living based on the CPI. And next one is, we can understand the purchasing power of consumers. I gave one example that I didn't purchase grapes this season. That means that my purchasing power is zero. Because of that, I didn't purchase grapes. So we can understand the purchasing power of consumers. And next one is expensiveness of different articles. We can understand which objects are expensive and which are cheap, and for which we have more demand or less demand, we can identify by using the CPI. And even we can understand the value of Indian rupee. With that, Indian rupee can we buy that product or not? So what is the value of Indian rupee? So all these things we can understand if we are calculating the CPI. Okay, and how it is calculated? We will just compare the present prices with base year. We know about the base year, right? So recently we changed the base year for this CPI. Because of this, you will get question in 2027 prelims related to this. We expected there will be a question on base year in 2026, but there is no question 2026. That means they will ask question in 2027 prelims case. Again, who will calculate this? You have to know this. That is National Statistical Office, which comes under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, will be releasing every month this index. Every month it will be releasing this index. Okay, see this next article, guys. What is the title? Title says Project Kusha, our indigenous air defense shield, will be a game changer. Who is this person? He is Defense Minister. Okay, our Defense Minister, he made a statement that Project Kusha is going to be a game changer for our defense system. If any one of our important ministers, if they gave any statement, that will be very important, and you may get a question on it. Recently, our Home Minister made a statement. What is that? We are going to eliminate Naxalism in India by 2026. That is a statement made by this Home Minister. So, how can you expect a question? What is Naxalism? What are the root causes? What are the measures taken by the government to eliminate Naxalism by 2026 is a possible thing. So, now here Defense Minister made a statement that Project Kusha will be a game changer. Okay, how UPSC can ask you a question? Recently, Defense Minister highlighted Project Kusha, and he said this will be a game changer. In the light of statement, explain the significance of Project Kusha. Like that, UPSC can give you a 10 marker mains based question. And if they want to give prelims question, obviously they can give. This time they asked about question related to Sudarshan Chakra in 2026 prelims. In the same way, UPSC can give you a question 2027 prelims related to this Project Kusha. How the question will be? Consider the following statements regarding Project Kusha. And under that, they may give you 2 to 3 statements. And they may ask you to identify correct options or correct statements. In that way, UPSC can give you a question prelims and as well as mains from this topic. So what you have to see, what exactly is this Project Kusha is about and why this project is important. Why it is a game changer. You have to think on that lines. If you know that, if there is any question prelims and mains, you can handle that. Okay. Now let us see about this Project Kusha. Project Kusha is also called as, please make a note, Extended Range Air Defense System. It is Extended Range Air Defense System of India. Extended Range Air Defense System or Precision Guided Long Range Surface Air Missiles or Precision Guided Long Range Surface Air Missiles. Okay, to understand this, I'll tell you some story. Listen to the story. Okay, so if you want to maintain good defense system in our country, for example, who will all comes under our defense? We have army, we have navy, and we have air force, and they need to have certain equipments. Without equipments, can they fight against our enemy countries? No. Okay, so one important thing that is required by our air force, our navy, and our army is missiles. Without missiles, we cannot maintain the good strength, good defense strength in our country. So for that, if you see the missiles, we have different types of missiles. We have short range missiles, we have medium range missiles, and we have long range missiles, and we have intercontinental missiles. Okay, short range means if you're firing, it can reach only small distance. Medium means like it is between long range and short range. And if you see intercontinental missiles, the range will be more than 5,000 kilometers. If you're firing in one continent, it can reach another continent. That is called as intercontinental missiles. Okay, so now this Project Kusha is focusing on long range missiles, and that too we are developing in our country. That is called as indigenous. As you all know that India is a developing country. For defense, we depended on other countries. We are getting our defense equipments from Russia, from US, from France, from even Israel also we are getting our defense equipments. But now Indian government is focusing on production in our country, and we want to reduce the dependence on foreign country. Why we want to reduce the dependency on foreign country? The one important thing here is, if we are buying anything from other country, will they give new technology for India? If it is outdated there, that will be exported to other country and that will be new in our country. That means, are we lagging technology wise compared to other country? That is a one important problem. And next, second one here is, we will be buying only that equipment. Will they transfer technology through which it made? They won't transfer technology. If there is any problem which happened in the battlefield, then who is responsible for that kind of failure? And again, if we want to make that correct, or if we want to do servicing for that equipment, we have to take that entire equipment to other country where we got to do servicing and to repair if something happens. That is the second important problem. And next one is, this defense related expenditure will be more, right? So we have to spend some crores of rupees for getting of one fighter jet like that. Obviously, what happened? We have to pay more to that country, that too in dollars. So because of this, what happened? Our current account deficit will be more. And next one is our resources are depleting in our country, especially foreign currency is depleting in our country. So because of all these things, now government is focusing on Make in India. That means we have to produce what are the things we need in our country. And it is part of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So if you are developing in our country, what are the advantages? Can we create employment? For example, we have HL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. We have DRDO, right? Have you heard about this DRDO? So these are the companies that will produce most of our equipment. Okay, so we can create more employment. And can we improve our technology in our country? Yes, we can improve our advanced technology. And not only that, can we contribute to our GDP? Obviously, we can contribute to our GDP. And if you are becoming success, can we export to other countries? India can become an exporter of defense. So for all these reasons, we are focusing on that. It is one example, that is Project Kusha. In this, we are focusing on developing of long range missiles. Okay, now let us see this. Okay, so this Project Kusha, it is mainly focusing on development of long range missiles, and they have a wide spectrum of aerial threats. If there are anything which is coming from other countries like enemy related drones or missiles, we can use this and we can strike them out. And next one here is we can use 3 different types of ranges in this. Okay, and if you see why it is a game changer is, first one is we can develop that long range missiles in our country by DRDO. So that what happened, we can enhance self-reliance, we can decrease our dependency on foreign country, and even we don't know like how the relations with that foreign country is also. Always will believe that US and India, they are friends, but what US is doing, it is targeting Indian ships in this Oman region. So we don't know how the relations will be in future also. For that reason, we need to be self-reliant. We should not depend on any other country. And next one here is multi-tier long range protection we are going to get. And next one is we can counter advanced and hypersonic threats from other countries. If other country like enemy countries, if they are using this kind of advanced things also, we can use this weapon and we can strike them out. And next one is it will be acting as a national defense grid. Especially it is mainly focusing on advancement or modernization of our Indian army and as well as navy. Okay, that is the thing, guys. And see this article. Title says BRICS backs people-centric inclusive urban development. So it is talking about BRICS related summit. Recently, 13th BRICS Urbanization Forum happened in our country, and they are focusing on what? Urban development. Okay, if there is any this kind of summits or any this kind of forums or done in our country or conducted in our country, UPSC has a tendency to ask a question. And I'll give you evidence why UPSC can ask a question and how it can ask a question. In 2025, there was AI Impact Summit happened in India. On that, UPSC asked a question. Consider the following statements regarding AI Impact Summit 2025, and they gave 3 statements. In that, they gave the statement based on the theme of that summit. Okay, if there is any this kind of forums held by BRICS or RCEP or G20, you will come across all these organizations in your international relations subject. So if there is anything done means, obviously UPSC can ask you a question on that. You have to focus. And these are entirely your memory based questions you can get in your paper. Okay, now let us see the context. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs launched this 13th BRICS Urbanization Forum, so which had been held in New Delhi. Okay, and it is the first major sectoral ministerial of BRICS chairmanship. Actually, This time India is acting as a chairman of BRICS for 1 year. So in this chairmanship, we conducted first ever meeting, and this meeting came up by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So because of this, it will be very important this year. Okay, and now the theme of this summit, you have to make a note, that is Cities for People, BRICS Cooperation for Inclusive and Resilient Urban Futures. UPSC has a tendency to change this. Why? Because in this AI Impact Summit, the theme is People, Planet, Progress. They just change this planet to planning. Even if they're changing a single word, you need to identify that case. That much sharp memory is required now for UPSC. Okay, write down the theme. It says Cities for People. So if UPSC wants to change here, it can change Cities for Progress, Cities for Production. Like that, they may change this people with other words. Okay, Cities for People, BRICS Cooperation for Inclusive and Resilient Urban Futures. And next, there are 10 countries participated in this. They are Brazil, Indonesia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran and UAE. No need of remembering this, but just make the list of members which are part of this BRICS, because UPSC asked question 2025 related to that. And what are the priorities of this meet? They focused on inclusive urban development, and they focused on climate and disaster resilient infrastructure. They are focusing on institutional strength and digital innovation. These are the 4 priority areas, guys. And on this also UPSC can give you a question. In that AI summit, they gave third statement based on this priority areas. 7 pillars like that they gave. Okay, you have to see about this 4 priorities also. Okay, now let us see next article. See this, guys. Deep-seated bias for male child persists in society. Okay, Supreme Court said that in our country overall child sex ratio is improving. What is child sex ratio? Number of girl child to number of boy child for every 1000 boys. For every 1000 boys, how many girls are there? That is called as child sex ratio. So Supreme Court said that there is a good news in our country, that is increasing of child sex ratio. But Supreme Court itself is telling that there is deep-seated bias for male child. That means even today also we are having patriarchal society in our country. What is patriarchal society? That is nothing but male dominant society is called as patriarchal society. Then what is female dominant society? Matriarchal society is called as female dominant society. Now there is, even today also, we have patriarchal preferences towards a male child. And this concept is called as son meta preference. We will study about this concept in your society case. Son meta preference. Okay, now you have to understand what exactly the meaning of son meta preference. Son meta preference is nothing but it is a societal tendency. The society wants to prioritize and they want to favor and they want to give more value for a male compared to the female. It is called as son meta preference. And this preference is not just about wanting a male child, but there are lots of things included in the son meta preference. Only one component is wanting a male child, and actually it is a complex phenomena which is influenced by our culture norms. Normally, if you see in our Hindu culture, I am giving example of Hindu culture. So if parents die, who has to do the final rites? Son. It is one culture norm why they wants to have a male child. And next one is economic factors. Normally, girl child will be married and sent to their in-laws home. And who will be staying with the parents? Son. And son's income is very important for the parents to sustain in the later period. That is nothing but economic factor. And not only that, social expectations. Society have lots of expectations that if a woman become pregnant, from the day one onwards, when she know that she is pregnant, she will be praying to the God that this time I need to have a son. And normally in some tribal communities, they have furthermore extreme priority for the male child. Why? Because normally the fathers, the parents' property, whatever they have, that will be transferred to male or female, again male. So for that reason, it is very less now. It is on only paper and it is only on law, but not it is properly implemented at the ground level. So what is happening? Very less. Very less. Okay, so actually what happened? Son will be considered as protector of their property also. So like that, society is having lots of expectations on son compared to that of girl. So because of the Supreme Court said that even today also there is a uh, strong affection towards a male child rather than a female child. So that is the thing which mainly said here. And even they wants to maintain their genetic line also, and they have to pass their surname from one generation to another generation. So for all those reasons, now there is son meta preference. Even today also it is present in some societies. But if you go to tribal people of northeastern part, they are having matriarchal society, not patriarchal society. Northeast, they are women dominant societies will be there. But in south, we have male dominant societies. Okay, what is the impact of the son meta preference? Obviously, they'll have strong positive thing towards male. So because of this, what happened? Gender imbalance can happen. More number of male child and less number of female child. And sometimes female feticide can happen. If they know that woman is carrying a female fetus, obviously they'll go for abortions. Even today also it is happening, despite of lots of acts. And next one here is female infanticide. After the birth of the child, who is a baby girl, just they will drop 1 grain of paddy into their mouth. Have you seen in many movies? That is called as female infanticide. After giving birth, we are killing this girl child. And this one is obvious, there is psychological effect on girls. Girls always feel undervalued. Anni annake istavu nakem la. Everything is for boy only. Yes? It will happen. Some judiciary supporting only girls. Okay, in some areas, not in urban areas, in rural areas it is still continuing. So you are in urban area and you are seeing only one side of society, but you have to see other backside of society also. Normally in remote areas and in some rural areas, they are giving priority for the boys. Boys are sending to private schools and girls are sending to the government schools. It is happening. I don't know whether you know it or not. See here, so because of this, girls feel like they are undervalued and unwanted. So because of this, obviously it will be having their psychological impact. And next one is there is even economic and social burdens. Families might invest more on the sons because of resource allocation, because of giving priority, because of economic things, everything is. So these are the impacts of son meta preference, and this is part of your society. Okay, see this article guys, read out the title. Equality of treatment for persons with disabilities. You know, with persons with disabilities, right? So actually these people are not having proper treatment as par with the normal people, because these people need some special attention if they want to travel the public vehicles or public transport system, or if they want to get access to this treatment, healthcare, and even related to education. There is discrimination against these people with disabilities. Okay, so here you have to make a notes like what are the challenges faced by persons with disabilities in our society, and you have to see what are the laws came up by the government to ensure equal treatment for these people, and you have to see what is the way forward. Okay, you have to make notes on this case. It is your work. Just use Google and try to write all these points. Challenges. What are the laws present in the government of India? And next you have to see what are the measures to improve their equal treatment, to ensure right to equality for these people. And you have to make note of which of the articles in our constitution are getting affected if you are discriminating this persons with disabilities. Okay, this is your work, and today I will be giving you mains question on this. Try to do some research. Everything will be not spoon fed. I hope you understood by writing the test. Everything will not be there in any book also. So you have to use your common sense. You have to do some hard work. From now onwards, let us try to do some hard work and let be independent. Yes. Okay. See this question, guys. In this way, you can get a question, and I'm expecting in 2027 for sure there will be a question on Project Kusha. 100% sure. Okay. See this case. Consider the following statements regarding Project Kusha. And there are 4 statements. First one is it is an indigenous long-range air defense system developed by DRDO. Second one, it is also known as extended range air defense system. I make you write alternate name. And next one is it is intended to strengthen our India's layered air defense network. If you don't know, keep it aside. And next one is it is being developed exclusively for Indian Navy. Not exclusively for Indian Navy, it is for Indian Army and Navy. Exclusively is extreme word. Always you have to eliminate extreme statements. Remove this 4th one. So here we have 2 options left. Now we have to see this 3rd one. So here you know it is for army. That means overall it is focusing on air defense network only, right? So these missiles will be enhancing our air defense system only. So if you are getting any attacks from other countries related to drones or missiles, we can use this and we can strike it down. So obviously it will be strengthening our Indian defense system. There is nothing wrong in that. So answer will be B, 1, 2 and 3. See this question, guys. Which of the following are uses the consumer price index? Where we are going to use that consumer price index? You have to know that. First one is inflation targeting. Next one is measuring the cost of living changes. Next one is national income deflation. Next one is calculation of dearness allowances. Select the correct answer using the code given below. For sure, CPI, what we are calculating, inflation only. That means 1 should be there in your answer. Eliminate this. And next one is cost of living. Yes or no? 2 is there in all. Next one is national income deflation. Yes. If you are, because of inflation, if you are purchasing less, production will be less. What about income? Will be less only. That is called as national income deflation. That means 3 should be there in your answer. Answer will be 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yes, even related to dearness allowances. So if you are getting this pensions, in that pensions also they will be calculating inflation, and based on that only they will be changing your PF contribution and final pension. Finally, how much amount you will be getting monthly, like that they will be calculating on this. So because of this, every month they will calculate this CPI and WPI. Clear? So these are the important topics that appear in our today's newspaper, guys. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this class, please do hit the like button and please do share this class to your friends. And if you have not yet been subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe, guys. And if you want to join our GS Foundation course, you can join either online or offline. And if you have any queries and if you want to know more details of this course, please do contact us on this number 8074765513. And if you want to meet directly, you can come to our academy, which is located in Ashok Nagar, Hyderabad. Thank you so much, guys.